You are being tested, right now. Not by life. Not by circumstance. Not even by other people. People who have learned, consciously or unconsciously, that your reaction is their reward. Pause for a moment. Think about the last time someone said something. Something sharp. Something dismissive. Something meant to get under your skin. What did you do? You likely reacted. You defended yourself. You tried to explain your side. And maybe, later, you replayed it in your mind for hours. Adjusting your words. Imagining a better response. Wishing you had said something more precise, more cutting. That is the trap. Every reaction you give is a form of currency. And most people spend it carelessly. Until they are left with nothing. The Stoics understood this. Even Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled one of the greatest empires in history, wrote daily reminders to himself. Not about war. Not about power. But about one thing. Refusing to be disturbed. Not because the world was calm. It wasn't. But because he understood what most never realize. You cannot control what reaches you. You can only control whether it stays. Silence is not surrender. Ignoring is not weakness. And choosing not to react is not passivity. It is discipline. It is awareness. It is control. This is about 6 Stoic strategies that will change how you move through the world. Not louder. Not more forceful. But quieter. More controlled. Untouchable. If you are done letting other people's chaos disturb your peace, then begin here. Strategy 1. Starve the fire. Because most conflict was never really about you. When someone provokes you, throws subtle insults, or tries to pull you into something unnecessary, they are not responding to who you are. They are testing what you are willing to give. And what they seek, more than an argument, more than being right, is your reaction. Because a reaction is proof of influence. Your reaction tells them, you have reached me. You are important enough to disturb me. And the moment you send that signal, you give them control. This is what the Stoics warned about. The danger of things that appear important but are not. Events. Insults. Provocations. None of these carry real power on their own. They only hold the meaning you choose to give them. Even Epictetus, who was born into slavery, yet became one of the most respected thinkers in history, understood this deeply. He had every reason to live in resentment, in anger, in resistance to the injustice around him. But instead, he built his philosophy on a single truth. It is not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that defines you. Attention is not just emotional. It is energy. Every time you engage with something beneath you, you spend a resource that does not easily return. Think of your attention as a fire. Everything you focus on, everything you react to, everything you invest emotion into, receives its heat. Some things deserve that fire. Your purpose. Your relationships. Your discipline. Your growth. But distractions. Petty conflicts. And those who live for chaos. They are like damp wood. They do not give warmth. They create smoke. And the more you feed them, the more suffocating your environment becomes. There is even a term for this. In behavioral psychology. When you stop feeding something, it fades. It disappears. Extinction. When a behavior, any behavior, stops receiving reinforcement, it weakens. It loses its force. And eventually, it disappears. The person who tries to provoke you, and is met only with silence, learns, over time, that you are not a source of the reaction they seek. So they move on. They have no choice. Because starving the fire is not about pretending nothing happened. It is about making a conscious, deliberate decision. This does not deserve my energy. This is not where my attention belongs. The first Stoic strategy is simple. Withdraw your attention. Not as avoidance, but as power. Strategy 2. The discipline of silence. There is a deeply human desire to be understood. When someone misinterprets you, criticizes you, or questions your decisions, something within you reacts instantly. It wants to correct them, to explain yourself, to lay out your reasoning so clearly, so completely, that they have no choice but to understand. And maybe, if you say it the right way, if you choose the perfect words, they will finally see you as you truly are. But here is the cost of that impulse. Every time you explain yourself to someone who has already formed their judgment, you are not clarifying. You are negotiating. You are silently agreeing that their opinion defines the space, that their judgment requires your defense, that you owe them an explanation. You don't. And the moment you enter that exchange, you've already given something away. You were not required to. Even Seneca once reflected that silence is something learned through experience and through suffering, not as coldness, not as distance, but as understanding. The kind that comes after explaining yourself again and again, and realizing it changes nothing. Or worse, it gives the other person more to use against you. Because over-explaining reveals your vulnerabilities. It shows exactly where you feel pressure, exactly where you can be pushed next time. The Stoics practiced something different. A composed, dignified silence. Not the silence of someone who has nothing to say, but the silence of someone who knows that saying it would change nothing. Marcus Aurelius did not feel the need to justify himself to every critic. In Rome, he led. He reflected. He refined his actions. And then, he let the work speak. Because when your work speaks clearly, explanations become unnecessary. Here is the shift that changes everything. You are not obligated to make everyone understand you. Understanding is not something you owe. It is something you offer. Carefully and selectively. Only to those who have shown they can receive it with honesty. Everyone else receives something simpler. Your actions, your results, and your silence. Choosing not to explain is not arrogance. It is discernment. It is the discipline of protecting your inner world by refusing to pull it into every external conflict. The second strategy is this. Let your silence speak for you. And let your life be the only argument you need. Strategy 3. The art of calm indifference. Nothing unsettles someone seeking a reaction more than a person who does not react at all. Not someone who argues back. Not someone who becomes visibly disturbed. But someone who notices the provocation, acknowledges it, and then, without urgency, continues exactly as they were. That response, or rather, that absence of response, is deeply unsettling to anyone who depends on your reaction. Because when your calm meets their chaos, something becomes visible. Not about you, but about them. This is what the Stoics understood about indifference. Real indifference, the practiced, intentional kind, is a mirror. When you refuse to react, the other person's behavior stands alone, unvalidated, unexplained, and suddenly exposed. Their aggression finds no partner. Their insult meets no surface that absorbs it. And in that moment, without a single word from you, their insecurity becomes obvious. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to become like your enemy." This is often seen as a lesson in character. But it is also strategy. Because the moment you mirror someone's chaos, match their anger, their pettiness, their need to provoke, You confirm something for them, that they reached you. And for that moment, you lower yourself to their level. Calm indifference does the opposite. It does not reflect them. It reveals the distance between you. Think of it this way. If someone throws a punch, and the other simply steps aside, no reaction, no retaliation. Just a quiet, effortless shift. Who appears powerful in that moment? The one standing still, or the one striking at empty space? Because this is not about pretending to be composed. Pretending is exhausting, and it is always visible. This is about developing something real, a genuine indifference toward things that do not deserve to disturb you. The Stoics describe these as external events, things that happen around you, but hold no authority over your inner state, unless you choose to give it. The third strategy is simple. Practice calm indifference, not as a performance, but as a way of thinking. Let your stillness achieve what words never can. Reveal, without accusation, what is truly happening. Strategy 4. Selective engagement. Not every voice deserves access to you. One of the most powerful decisions you can make is deciding who receives your attention, not only in conflict, but in everyday life, in the conversations you enter, in the situations you involve yourself in the arguments that try to pull you in. Because here is a truth most people avoid. Engagement is always a choice, and every choice you make reveals something. Your values, your priorities, your level of self-control. The Stoics never suggested withdrawing from life. They did not promote isolation or avoiding all interaction. Quite the opposite. Marcus Aurelius led armies, governed an empire, and handled some of the most complex relationships of his time. But he was highly intentional about where he chose to engage. He focused on what was within his control and released what was not. That clarity, the ability to recognize what deserves your effort and what should be ignored, was central to both his philosophy and his effectiveness. Seneca expressed it clearly. He who is everywhere is nowhere. When you scatter your attention across every conflict, every distraction, every piece of surrounding noise, you lose depth. You become present everywhere, but meaningful nowhere. But when you become selective, truly, unapologetically selective, something begins to change. Your focus sharpens, your energy gathers, and the chaos that once felt overwhelming starts to fade into the background, because you are no longer feeding it with your attention. Here is a simple way to apply this. Before you engage with a comment, a conflict, or a conversation that feels heavy, pause. Ask yourself one question. Does this move me closer to, or further from, the person I am trying to become? If the honest answer is further away, then choosing not to engage is not avoidance. It is alignment. Selective engagement is not about becoming distant or disconnected from the world. It is about becoming precise, about treating your attention as something valuable, because it is. The fourth strategy is this. Treat your attention like currency, and spend it only where it creates something meaningful. Strategy 5. Emotional restraint. The moment you lose control of your temper, you lose your position, even if you were right. This is something the Stoics understood with remarkable clarity. Emotion, when expressed impulsively, without discipline, does not signal strength. It reveals weakness. It shows others exactly where you can be moved, exactly what affects you, exactly how to reach you, and in moments that matter. Conflict, pressure, negotiation, public scrutiny. That information is far too costly to give away freely. But emotional restraint is not the same as suppression. This distinction is critical. Suppression means burying what you feel, pushing it down until it finds another way out. And when it does, it is often at the worst possible time, in the wrong direction, with unintended consequences. Restraint is different. Restraint is awareness. It is the ability to feel something fully, without becoming controlled by it. To notice anger rising, to recognize it, and still choose, deliberately, how to respond. Epictetus expressed this clearly. If someone succeeds in provoking you, understand this. Your mind plays a role in every provocation. It participates. And that is not a comfortable thought, because it shifts responsibility onto you. Not onto the person who provoked you, but onto your response. And yet, that is exactly where your power lies. Because if your mind is involved, your mind can also refuse. It can pause. It can step back. It can decide. This moment does not deserve what is being demanded from me. There is a reason. The most respected individuals in any room are often the calmest. Not because they feel nothing, but because they have trained themselves to respond instead of react. Responding is deliberate. It is measured. It is chosen. Reacting is immediate, automatic. And anything automatic can be controlled by someone who understands your triggers. The fifth strategy is this: train your inner system, the way an athlete trains the body, with intention, with repetition, over time. Because emotional restraint is not something you either have or don't. It is a skill. And every moment where you remain composed under pressure is practice. Each one makes you more stable, more grounded, harder to move. Strategy 6. The power of withdrawal. Sometimes, the strongest action is to walk away. Not out of weakness, not out of avoidance, but with full awareness that certain situations, certain conversations, and certain people do not deserve your presence. And staying, just to appear agreeable, or to avoid discomfort, is a quiet form of self-betrayal. You have been conditioned to believe that walking away means losing, that the one who disengages first is the one who couldn't handle it, that they were overpowered, that they gave up. But this perspective is flawed, because withdrawal, when it is intentional and controlled, is not retreat. It is redirection. It is the decision to reclaim your time, your energy, your attention. It is the moment you recognize what this situation is, and what it will cost you if you continue.